Hey, good morning, class, or good afternoon, I should say. Sorry, I'm used to recording these early, and it's actually Friday afternoon. Pretty warm Friday, so hopefully this video finds you all maybe inside and cool and outside, away from all the heat, or maybe enjoying a cold beverage instead of being outside. At least for now, it's starting to warm up pretty good. So welcome back. This is week number 7 of our course, which really is the penultimate week of our course. It's the next to last. So we only have 2 more weeks of this course left. So just heads up with that. Be aware of, hey, a couple more weeks. So a few more grades to be, assignments and things to be submitted, and we'll be wrapping things up. So just as quickly as we start, we wrap up as well. So, but welcome back. Just a reminder that our latest response paper number 4 is due on Sunday night. Watch the TED Talk about the city of Oklahoma City by former Mayor Mick Cornett, and his challenge to lose 1 million pounds. Watch that TED Talk, answer the 3 prompts, turn that in by Sunday. And then don't forget, we also have exam number 3, our third of 4 exams, is up and active, and that'll be open until Monday. You'll have, like our previous exams, 50 multiple choice questions, no time limit, but of course give yourself enough time. I would allot at least 2 hours just to be safe, and make sure your computer's updated. Make sure it's not going to kick you off because it's updating your Windows or Mac or whatever. So, so those are the 2 big things to kind of focus on early week 7. Afterwards, you're also going to jump into our next chapter, chapter 13, which is the chapter on therapy. It's just called Therapies, and this is the chapter that follows up chapter 12. So in chapter 12, we learned about each psychological disorder or different classifications. Now in chapter 13, you're going to be reading about the ways in which those are treated. So you're going to be looking at a variety of psychotherapy techniques, including Freudian therapy, client-centered therapy. You'll also look at the difference between group and individual therapy. So that's a big chunk of this chapter. And the other chunk of the chapter is going to be on biological therapies that are, like medications, surgical techniques, and some other procedures that are used for the treatment of psychological disorders. And a lot of the research shows, in fact, when you're combining the psychotherapy along with biological therapy, that tends to be most effective. So, for example, somebody who's going to therapy for depression and also taking medication for their depression is probably more likely to experience changes in their depression compared to someone who is maybe doing one or the other or not doing any at all. So, a lot of research that backs that up. So read that chapter. There is a lecture video with that as well, so you can follow along as you read and kind of hear me go through things. There's a practice quiz as well for that chapter, so once you finish, check your comprehension, make sure you understand. Our last exam will only cover chapters 13 and 14, which will be next week, so just be aware of that. Maybe you might want to take the practice quiz on chapter 13 just to make sure you're good to go before that. This week we will not have a response paper or a discussion post. This week we will have what I call a scientific article review, and this is like the big writing assignment for this class. It's not big. It's 2 pages versus your 1-page response paper, so it's big in that sense, but it's really not big. All I want you to do is find any article related to psychology. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be something we've talked about directly in this class. It could be a subject that interests you that maybe we didn't talk about, or it could be related to stuff that we've talked about, as long as it involves something to do with psychology, mental processes and behaviors, some relation to that. And I'm pretty open to interpretation of that. So I would like for you to find an article. I've listed a few recommendations. You can go to the APA's website. You can go to OSU OKC's library website, where you have access to scholarly journal articles. You can also go to scholar.google.com, Google Scholar, if you're not familiar with that search engine. But you can also just use Google or really anywhere. But I give you some recommendations, some links as well, if that is helpful. But pick an article. The article you choose, you have to give me a working link, either a link to the article or a PDF or some kind of copy that I can actually look at your article and see, okay, this is the article you found. If you do not turn in the article with your paper, I will not accept your paper. Meaning you could potentially get a 0 on it. Or I'm just going to annoy you and say, hey, please send me back. Please send me the article or the link. So if you want to avoid me annoying you about that, then just copy and paste your link to the bottom of your page, your paper when it's done. Essentially, I want a 2-page write-up. I want you to give me a summary of the article you chose in your own words. Tell me what the findings were in your own words, and then kind of tell me, why is this important? What's the takeaway? Why would psychologists or the general public or whoever, why would this be important to us? And so again, this all needs to be in your own words. So, and that's part of the reason why I want your article, because I'm literally going to check and make sure you're not copying and pasting. I don't mind a quote here or there. That's fine. Like if you found a really great quote, you want to pull it out, and that's fine. But if it's like a big paragraph chunk of text, like that's not your own words, and that's probably borrowing a little too much. So I want the vast majority of this to be in your own words. You really don't need citations. Just give me the link to the website. I mean, if you bring any other information besides that, then cite that. That's fine. But if you're just using the website or the article, just give me a copy of that, a link to that, and that'll be fine. So 2 pages, summarize the article, give me a link to the article, tell me what the findings were, and then tell me why it's important. That'll be due on the 22nd, so that's on a Monday. As of right now, it's the 12th. I've already opened the assignment up. It's posted and ready, so you roughly have about 10 days. If you're not sure about an article, whether it will count or not, please just email and ask me. Send me a link and say, hey, I'm thinking about this article. Just let me know. My recommendation is don't wait until the night before. Start thinking about this now. Find your article. I mean, I think this is an assignment. It's a big writing assignment in terms of like the points, but it's not hard. If you could sit down and knock this out in an hour or two. Find your article, read it, think about it, write it up, submit it to Canvas. So anyways, that's week number 7. Finish response paper 4 if you haven't done so already. Take exam 3 if you haven't done so already. You'll need to read chapter 13. You'll need to find an article, any article related to psychology, write up your summary, why it's interesting, and what can be taken away from it. And that will cover week number 7. Next week will be our last exam, or last week. It'll cover our last exam will also be open, which will cover chapters 13 and 14. And that will most likely be due on Friday. So be aware of that. You will not have as much time as we typically have, but it's already open. So anyways, other than that, I think that's about it for week number 7. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email or feel free to respond to this announcement, the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Otherwise, I look forward to reading your article papers that I'll be getting soon. So take care, everyone. Hope you have a great week and a great weekend. All right, bye.